Hey, Spuddies, Potato McWhiskey here, and welcome to Rome Total War Remastered. Real quick, this is a sponsored video. There will be links in the description and in the comments of this video if you want to go ahead and pick up the game for yourself, and I absolutely recommend you do, because if you're like me and you want to relive your childhood of playing this game, you should absolutely do so. The game is now available right now, as of this video. If you're watching this video, it's available for purchase on Steam, and there's a ton of new content. There's a bunch of the previously unplayable factions have now been made to be playable on top of the original 22 factions in the game. I think there's 16 new ones. And the Rome Total War Remaster doesn't just get you the original Rome Total War, it gets you Barbarian Invasion and the Alexander expansions, which have all been updated as a part of this entire package of a remaster. Now in the background there's going to be some custom battles as I talk about the game and the strategy we're going to be going for. But Rome Total War is my favorite Total War game. I originally started out playing Medieval Total War, and then I progressed to Rome Total War, and this game just really had that meaty, weighty combat that no other game really achieved for me as a child. I have put countless hours into this game, but I never actually got very good at it, so I don't really know how to play it well. I just had so much fun. I would love fighting siege battles on the defense. I would love setting up siege artillery on the offense. Now we'll be doing an Imperial game as Carthage today. Now the reason we're playing Carthage is for one very simple reason, and that is due to this unit right here, the Peasant Light Infantry. In most Total War games, the Peasants are a pretty terrible unit. They can't hold their own, they can't fight very effectively, they're very weak against ranged attacks, but Carthage is very unique alongside one or two other cultures in this game in that their peasants have 3 times the melee attack and 3 times the defense of other quote-unquote civilized people's peasants. These peasants are like gods because they are so cheap, their unit size is massive, and they can really hold a line. When you upgrade a unit with experience or weapon skill or armor, they actually become a lot more effective. So if you can get some armor and weaponry and experience on these guys, they become absolute powerhouses. Now, the only downside is they have really bad morale, but the goal is to use peasants as temporary frontline holding units as we sweep around with the rest of our forces to enclose the enemy, and units that are enclosed in Rome will die very quickly and rout or fight to the death very quickly. In Thaspus, we have a pretty good commander, Burhus, who has 1 command and decent management and influence. However, we will be using him specifically to claim some settlements out in the desert. We'll recruit ourselves some Numidian mercenaries for him so that he has 3 units in tow. And I believe there's a settlement over here that's lightly defended. And a little green patch down here is the clue that we need to know where the desert settlement down here is that we can easily grab from the rebels early game. In fact, there's another little green patch here that we'll eventually want to take, and I think our opening goal will be to secure the African area. And our other goal will be to defend Corsica and build up a military in Spain to take out the Gallic city here. Now with the remaster comes a host of rebalanced things in the game, but I feel like these are very much so in line with like a patch to the game rather than a total overhaul. It really just does a lot of quality of life stuff, a lot of rebalancing of sort of overpowered mechanics, making things make a little bit more sense. I don't think there's any sort of remaster change here that drastically changes the game in a way that I would say it's no longer Rome Total War. More like I would say this is almost like a mini expansion where they cleaned up a few of the feathery edges and just made the gameplay tighter. We're going to start out by building up our ports for trade income, because income is your lifeblood in this game. We're going to get as many ports as we possibly can, and in settlements that aren't big enough, we'll go ahead and get land clearance so we can get more income and start growing those cities faster. They will grow pretty quick once we start conquering and start distributing slaves throughout our empire, but the long-term income and growth from farming cannot be understated. Or overstated? I don't know how to phrase that correctly. Of particular note over here in Cordoba is this very juicy mine here that gives you 200 denarii per turn for a 2,000 gold investment. I think that'll actually go up to more like 300, yep, with a governor, which is super nice. So that'll pay itself off very quickly. Start getting a couple of watchtowers in Spain too, so that we have better vision of what's going on here. And then with our remaining money, we'll go through and recruit a ton of peasants, with the exception of our capital, because we are going to want a larger fleet to be able to fight Rome. Oh, that's unfortunate. I tried to, I misclicked on a spy and he died. Well, there goes my spy. That takes care of our first turn. We've got all our units moved. I've got a boat heading over to Palmas to pick up the troops in here. I've got peasants being recruited basically everywhere. And you might say to me, Potato, Town Militia have 7 total defense and a shield with 5 skill. But that doesn't matter because peasants have 80 more troops in a unit, which means they have 50% more units. That means they can take 50% more kills before they panic. Well, not exactly, but if you count the morale. But peasants are just so good. And peasants will be forming the bulk of our early game army. Looks like Spain wants some trade rights and map information. I'll take that deal. We've got a rebel ship over here. It looks like it should be a relatively easy fight for us to win. And we did in fact sink that ship. And now we can get to work on repairing our galleys. There is the settlement in Spain we plan to take, because it's quite easy to be at war with the Gauls, because most of their settlements are up here to the northeast. We'll try to diplomatically engage with Spain, because maybe we can get ourselves an alliance. I'm going to offer them compensation and map information, and they're going to give me 1,000 denarii for that. Well, I don't know what they've done to me, but hopefully this will mean our relationship is much better. Let's grab these Libyan mercenaries and then attack this town. Should be a pretty easy assault. All they've got is militia. It's a good opportunity for Burhus to get some experience in combat. One of my favorite things about Rome Total War was always the pre-battle speeches where the generals would basically like talk trash or try to inspire their troops. It's like one of the coolest parts of the game to me. We'll start our deployment, and this should be a pretty easy, just basically run down mid sort of fight. Looks like they're retreating to their town square to defend this city. I don't think it's going to work. I think I've got way too many units for them to hold. We've got our cavalry setting up an encirclement, and we're moving in with our skirmishers now to try to soften them up. Oh, they're coming out to fight me. Run away. Don't let them get free kills on you. You never want cavalry to sort of soft engage. You always want them to hard engage with a charge in this game. So if someone comes to try to fight your cavalry, just run away. They'll get tired faster than you will. You fools, why are you chasing me? You've just wasted your time. This was always my favorite thing to do in Rome, is just put the game on like super slow time speed and watch an enemy unit just get absolutely pelted by ranged attacks. Unfortunately, my units have made a bit of a mistake in kind of my skirmisher cavalry charged in to fight in melee for some reason, but you know, can't always expect the perfect stuff. But these guys are facing the wrong way and about to get decimated by this cavalry charge. Look at those unit numbers decreasing rapidly. Oh man, they've already lost like 20 units in a few seconds of combat. But yeah, we soften them up at ranged attacks and then we're just gonna kill them with a quick melee fight. Oh my god. They're already, look how quickly they're dying. They are getting massacred. God, the combat in this game is just so satisfying. We took 48 casualties, which isn't so bad. Mostly on those Numidian mercenaries that kind of decided to randomly charge the enemy. Thankfully though, a good few of them were healed. I think in this particular city, the population is so low that I'm just going to occupy it, because otherwise it would just grow way too slowly with too few pops in here. All the construction we did on round 1 is finished, so we can get to work on more. And I don't know about other players, but I almost always focused on economic stuff like farms first. With the exception of Caralis, because this city usually gets attacked by Rome really early into the game, so I try to just spam peasants and walls in here. I'm also going to set my tax rate pretty high in a lot of my cities, especially ones with low population, because percentage population growth doesn't matter quite as much in here, since we'll mostly be relying on taking slaves to grow these settlements. It looks like the Scipii have attacked Syracuse, so we're going to try to move in after them to take that over once they're finished with their fight. Should be a pretty easy fight against the Greeks here as well. My one small complaint I have about the game is that units default to run rather than walk. I don't know how to change that. I wish I could. But all in all, that's a pretty small complaint about what is otherwise a brilliant game. Our lines are in range. Let's halt our march. and begin slinging these militia hoplites. Now they've turned their sides to us, and actually it's the side without the shield. And the really important thing about Rome Total War is that the facing of a unit matters a lot when it comes to using its shield. I think they get double protection from their shields from the front, full protection from the left, and only half protection from the right, and then no protection from the rear. So depending on the side an enemy unit chooses to face you with, you could do so much more damage with range attacks, because the shield isn't really helping them there. And I love that ranged attacks can kind of spill over and do damage to units behind them. You can see here, occasionally these peltists are taking casualties just because they're so close to the hoplites that we're actually engaging. Now the peltists are coming forward to actually engage us, so let's go ahead and set up wide formation and then set our peltists to go forward, the skirmishers, to go meet them and see if we can win the skirmish battle. Here we go. The skirmish battle has begun and the first volley is out. Pretty good first volley to take out nearly 10 units actually. But this is something I loved about this game too, is the extended skirmishes you could have with the AI. They should run out of ammo pretty soon here. I don't think peltists have a huge amount of ammo, whereas slingers can fire for quite a while. And now that they're out of ammo, I'm going to move my my skirmishers forward in tight formation to try to tank some hits and maybe take some aggro off of my slingers. Because my slingers are a DPS unit, but they're very bad at defense. They do have some archers out here on the flank, so I'm going to send my cavalry to threaten them, because I don't like how much damage those archers are doing to my slingers. And let's go ahead and get the melee fight started as well. Let's start advancing our infantry up. We do have elephants, but we don't want to use them this early. We want to keep those elephants for an important point in the battle. They're kind of like shock units. Yes, they're very good, but if you use them too early, they can take heavy casualties, and they're very hard to replace in the early game. All right, I just discovered that there's actually an option here to hide the foliage, so we can see what's going on in the battle much easier. Especially if I hold spacebar, you can kind of see how the battle is shaping up. My slingers are peppering their militia hoplites here, and they've got what looks like archers here on the flank protecting. Oh, those archers are getting ready to attack. See if we can't use a cavalry charge to clear them up. All right, let's begin the assault. Now, I have units basically frontally charging hoplites, which is fine, because I won't be fighting those hoplites for long, because my goal is to get behind them with my cavalry and do severe damage. So even if I'm charging basically straight into a phalanx sphere, that's fine, because they've already broken. And this phalanx is just pointing the wrong way. Now is the time to get my cavalry out of there. And then to get my infantry and my other cavalry to attack from the other direction. Because yes, we are losing, but now they're engaged and facing the wrong direction. And we can hit them from the back and watch their unit numbers come down. Now, we'll lose a lot of cavalry to the charge, but defeat is a distinct possibility here for them. And they'll start just crumbling underneath our cavalry charge. Now, the hoplites are completely enclosed. They should probably start fighting to the death soon, once their general dies. There we go. They fleed. Or fled? Fleed? They fleed? Just look how many casualties those slingers inflicted. And they healed quite a bit as well. Even the skirmishers didn't hold a candle to them. That's just the power of range units in this game. If you can get an extended skirmish phase set up, they can just do amazing amounts of damage. But we basically routed that Greek army, which is going to make the follow-up attack on the Greek settlement in Syracuse so much easier. All right, see you later, boys. They retreat to the city. They should be killed by the Romans. The Romans have a pretty big army, and I'm hoping that army wastes an awful lot of units trying to siege this city, and then we can move in and hit them while they're weak. Oh, cool. We were officially declared the largest faction, and it actually looks like the Romans backed off the Greeks to come attack me instead, which is actually fantastic, because I've got boats in position to defend Caralis, and Caralis has a pretty good garrison of fodder troops. I could potentially preempt this Roman invasion here by using my ships to declare the war and blowing Admiral Oppius out of the water, which I'm absolutely going to do. Rome can get wrecked as far as I'm concerned. We didn't sink their ships, but we did kick them back to where they won't be able to invade Caralis. And now we can do the follow-up battle against Greece to take Syracuse. Another one of my favorite things about Rome was that the map actually, like what the battle or the battle map looked like, depended heavily upon the terrain that units were standing on the world map, at least as far as I could tell. As a kid, it always seemed that way. Like, for example, my units were standing on a hill and attacking downhill. So that means in this battle, I start on a hill. It's just a really, really, really cool thing that I like a lot. Start the battle and begin the advance. Now, we're going to try to use our cavalry and our stuff like that to try and kill these guys and get the enemy general killed before these reinforcing units can reach them. It means our cavalry will be pretty tired for the second half of the battle, but being able to clear these guys out really quickly is going to be a huge advantage. God, those archers are getting obliterated by my ranged cavalry. And these hoplites are just uselessly trying to chase my other cavalry around. Alright, we've got the majority of the enemy units routing and running now. So I think we can now bait them into a cauldron with our cavalry hitting them from behind. Here we go, here's the moment. Now, we will lose a lot of cavalry in this charge, but we should basically break these spearmen instantly. It's just a sad fact of the matter that when you're chasing into a forest of spears, a lot of your cavalry are going to die, which is a mechanic I really like in this game, that units, you know, there is a cost to charging into the back of a block of spearmen, you know, you're gonna take some hits. Now, that's the enemy general routed, and I think that might be the entire enemy army routed. So let's begin the full-on assault. Yeah, it looks like they're running off the edge of the battle, so we managed to successfully do more damage to an enemy army, pick up a ton more kills, maybe even gain a bit of experience on some of our units, and more importantly, we potentially could have leveled up Hanno here, who is pretty old, but his command level is very strong. Let's begin the siege of Syracuse. We're going to use a combination of 1 siege tower and 3 sets of ladders to take this city. While the awesome Temple of Melkart is really nice for upping your trade income, the further your cities get away from your capital city, you're going to want public order due to law, since that actually reduces the corruption effect on your income, if I remember correctly. You can see here, even though I have a turn income of 120 or 1,300 roughly, I'm losing nearly 200 of that to corruption. And that gets worse the further away a city is from my capital. You can see here, we're losing almost a third of our income here. And sure enough, if I were to build a shrine to Melkart, my income would go up here a little bit. But if I build the shrine to Baal, that would actually heavily reduce the corruption in here to the point where even though I'm building something that's increasing my corruption, the overall effect is going to be a downward trend for corruption for the city. They've also introduced the merchant system into Rome Total War Classic, or Remastered rather, which I really like, that there's like another little mechanic that you can take part in the overworld map. Let's deposit the troops from Palma onto the coast of Spain. We will be trespassing for a bit, but we should be able to get over into the Gallic territory pretty quick. Let's go ahead and take Syracuse, and I think I'm just going to auto-resolve this. I tend to find when I fight siege battles myself, I lose a lot more troops than the auto-resolver. Unless it's a very specific type of siege where like my intervention is required to win it. Now we have a choice here. We can gain a little bit of money and disperse this population among my settlements, growing my weaker settlements quicker, or we can exterminate it for a ton of cash right now. I think it's good to go for the long-term growth here and pick up just a little bit of cash now. We'll also retrain these town militia. They're not very good, but they are better than nothing. One problem we've got here is that a lot of the buildings in here are of the Greek culture, which means we're going to have a bit of a problem in here until we can deal with all that. If you look at the loyalty, we've got a 50% culture penalty. Now we have to choose between whether or not we use this boat to try and kill this Roman fleet or reinforce Lilybæum. I think I try to do the reinforcement thing. Let's drop those troops right on the edge of the city so they can help defend it when they inevitably attack. Then we'll use these 4 ships to try to kick these Romans out because it has a ton of troops on it. Oh man, I think I might be able to get in range and finish this guy off actually. Just barely didn't manage to sink him. I did kick him back really, really far. Now these guys are in a pretty precarious situation because I could basically stack wipe this massive Hastati army. We want to heavily focus on getting things like shipwrights because even though they do cost 1,600, they give about 200 denarii per turn, which means we can get 2 more peasants per turn and maintain 2 more peasants per turn. Cordoba, thanks to our enslavement of Syracuse, has actually grown enough to where we could upgrade this to a bigger town. And then we'll be able to actually start producing meaningful military out of here to be able to take over Spain. The Greek cities are looking for a ceasefire, and I'm going to take that deal for now because I've already taken what I want from them, which was the city of Syracuse. So that's one less person I have to be at war with. I've got a merchant with 2 skill, so I'm going to go ahead and see if I can take out this rebel merchant with 0 skill. And it looks like it worked out because this guy now has 3 skill. He is a specialist for trading in slaves apparently, but I don't remember how to do that. And you can see here, he could generate me 195 denarii per turn by trading inside the city, so that's where I'm going to park him. Can I catch these guys? Oh my god, they've only got 20 troops left? Didn't manage to sink them. But they did retreat down here to the southeast. So they're somewhere in here. There they are. I really badly want to kill these guys. I know I'm struggling to get a kill on them. I've been just mass producing a navy to try to break these guys in, but maybe if I can get like one big hit on them next turn, I can wipe this army. Next turn, I'm going to try and take out this Scipio army with all these peasants and these infantry and stuff I've got in the area. I'll finally get to use my elephants against these units that don't have spear attacks. All right, we're almost in range of this settlement, and it should be a pretty easy one because I did recruit a couple more mercenaries in here. Let's assault this town. Okay, their cavalry is a little bit spooky, but I have a similar complement of cavalry plus a couple of extra units, so I should be able to take these guys on without any trouble. Are they coming in for a charge, or are they trying to skirmish me? Oh, I think they're trying to skirmish me. No, they're trying to charge me. All right, weird. I don't know why you would do that with your skirmish cavalry against a... oh my god, they're annihilating my poor infantry. Get in there, dudes. Gotta help out. These guys are routing already. What is happening? Wait, what? All right, there we go. Now we're annihilating them. My poor Libyan mercenaries got absolutely wrecked. Oh, we even got their general. Oh, that's perfect. We could just A-click mid. Just walk it down mid, boys. Game over. These javelin men don't stand a chance. Oh my god, nearly 50 of them died in like the initial opening charge. Jesus Christ. Talk about massacre, dude. I mean, sometimes I make a blunder in my strategic choice, like maybe sending those Libyan mercenaries in on their own. It was probably a mistake. You know what? I'll accept that mistake. This is mostly like an expedition anyway. We're just trying to take over this town because it's going to be long term a really good source of farming income. We took a bit of casualties there, but our Numidian mercenaries did pick up some experience, which is going to help them out a lot. Now, there's almost no one living in this town, which is fine by me. We're going to build it up by building a farm to get that extra population growth, as well as a shrine to Tanit for that extra farming income and even more population growth. Burha's actually picked up +1 command score, which is going to be super helpful. And you got a retinue increase, you got a galloper, +1 command when attacking. Very nice. This guy's now a very, very good offensive general. 3 command points is not amazing, but considering you can get guys with 0, I'll take it. Now he's trying to siege us down here, so I think we're going to probably combine a bunch of our units together again before we go ahead and attack this guy to clear him off the map. Are you joking me? Really? I'm gonna have to use my governor to take him out. All right, we'll just auto-resolve this. It should be a pretty easy... Wait, how did he get 500 casualties? Hang on a minute. That is some BS right there. That was only 2 units. I guess we'll have to fight more of our battles manually because I'm even losing elephants, which I shouldn't be. Maybe auto-resolve in this scenario was the wrong move. I thought it would just be like a quick, easy, auto-win, but nope. They're bleeding me dry. Let's go ahead and begin the siege of this Gallic settlement as well. I'm gonna fight this one manually because I've been getting screwed by the auto-resolver. Start the battle. Battering ram up to the walls. Are they coming out to fight me? No, okay, they were just positioning themselves. They have impetuous morale, so I was like, are these guys just gonna straight up walk out and fight? Oh, the ram has met the gates. Let's begin the slamming. Like, unironically, when I was a kid, I would just sit here with the battles on like super slow-mo and just watch them unfold like all day. I probably spent untold amounts of like my summer holidays just playing Rome Total War when I was like 13. Maybe I was a little bit older than that. I don't remember exactly the year the game came out. But man, this game is just nostalgia for me. Oh, look at the spears rain down, dude. I mean, they're not taking that many casualties from it, but man, is it satisfying to watch. Slingers are pelting these war bands. We've got our Iberian infantry trying to make its way through the gate. Oh no, they're countercharging. That's not what I wanted. Shoot. They're gonna fight me now. This isn't what I wanted. This is a terrible position. Back up before you just start taking crazy casualties. All right, infantry attack is underway. Let's get the cavalry in there as well. Oh, they're in like some weird, like, elongated formation. My cavalry are gonna smash into them though. Yeah, that was a much less impressive charge than I was expecting. Oh, but they did break. So now when a unit breaks in Rome Total War, what you want to do is you want to like get your units to run through them and then you attack it and then your units all attack at the same time and it like immediately completely cripples the unit, and cavalry are amazing at doing this. So like if I chase this guy down, I basically like try to walk through the enemy unit rather than trying to straight up chase it. And then once you're like pretty milled up with it, you attack them and just look at the amount of kills we're getting. It was kind of like one of those cute little, I don't know if that still works in modern Total War, but it was something I used to just spend hours and hours doing. I would like manually mop up every single battle. Oh, look at that. This is so satisfying watching that number go down. Here come the slinger missiles. Look at these guys get devastated. Oh, they're countercharging. Whoa, wait, why are you running through the lines? Oh god, this is the only downside to the older Total War games, is that it was often quite hard to get your troops to do exactly what you wanted. But that sort of thing, that's just part of the game. Now we're going to do a back charge on these guys. Oh man, all right, they got 179. And after the charge, oh, that's going down quick. Maybe I should get my slingers to stop shooting because I think there's a lot of friendly fire happening. But yeah, now the cavalry is just eviscerating these guys. I always really enjoyed that, like, the enemy units that were encircled, the pocket of units would slowly get smaller and smaller until they would just break. The settlement has a decent amount of population and I'm not really hurting for money, so I think I'm going to enslave them. This will distribute those pops to my other cities and make my life easier when it comes to managing them. I am going to destroy some of the buildings in here, partially for the money, but partially also because the public order problem I have right now is just a little bit too much. That's it for this turn. We're making some pretty nice progress. We've taken over the center of Spain. We're about to be in full control of Syracuse. And we managed to nab 2 settlements in North Africa. I'm feeling pretty good about our progress so far. I'm curious as to what the Romans are going to throw at me. I don't know if I can beat the Romans this early, but I can at the very least beat them back pretty heavily. God, just look at that money per turn we're pumping out now. That's the advantage of powering hard for economy early game and using peasants as your main army. Peasants are so cheap that you always have money to invest in your income, and they can pretty effectively fight the majority of the stuff you're going to run into early game. I think Spain is looking to come to war with me. I have a ton of peasants to fight them, but I don't know if that's going to be enough against these guys. Let's go ahead and disband these mercenaries. And that should, in theory, if I remember correctly, give this settlement a little bit more population, which means we'll be able to train a peasant to act as a garrison, and then we can get these cavalry units to go rejoin the proper front line. And I'll have this governor run around, maybe planting down a few watchtowers and stuff, so I can just have better map vision. Now that we've got peasants in garrison here, let's grab this cavalry and send it along the road. Yep. Here come the Spanish. It might be worth my while to be the person who attacks first in this scenario, because if I can fight these armies when they're relatively small, my life will be much easier. Grab this army and chase down this Spanish stack. Now they got a lot of units, but I have cavalry and they don't have much. Deployment ready. We've got our skirmishers out front, ready to do some damage. We've got our infantry as a block in the center, and then on the wings we've got our 2 cavalry groups. I think this should be a fairly straightforward battle. Looks like they're actually willing to come to me to fight, which I'm kind of okay with, because I have so much cavalry I should be able to hit them from the back no problem. And plus I'm uphill, so my slingers should have a pretty easy time of it. Here we go. The first volley is out. Now that should encourage them to come meet me in battle. The AI really doesn't like to just sit there and take damage for no reason. And here we go, right? That's triggered them. They're coming forward now. Let's push our infantry through and we'll use our cavalry to fight on the flanks. Oh my god, their general is already routing. That's amazing. He literally routed. He literally got into combat, attacked one thing, and then routed immediately. That's hilarious. This guy must be like one of the worst generals in the entire game. He must have like super negative morale penalties with all of his traits. But yeah, that was just an absolute massacre. Unfortunately though, we didn't get any experience. I'd like my units to start leveling up a bit. I mean, we've been fighting pretty much non-stop every turn with a lot of these units. We've got another rebel merchant over here I can buy out and hopefully get a level on my current merchant. He's been printing cash for me, which is super amazing. Oh my god, he's attacking my city again. I forgot to engage him in combat. I was so busy doing everything else in my turn that I forgot to attack that small Roman army. God damn it. All right, so the barbs are going straight in for the battle here. Did I forget to build walls in this city? Oh, that's bad. If I forgot to build walls here, that's real bad. We may actually lose this city, despite the fact that we have all these peasants, because you kind of need walls to slow down cavalry. I don't know, maybe we'll be able to manipulate things. Now, the trick is, when you're defending with just a peasant-only army, is keep the general somewhere nice and safe, and then carefully pack your peasants around buildings so they have the density of a normal combat formation. I know, it's a little bit cheeky of a strategy, but it's something I used to love doing. And then no matter where they attack me from, I should be able to get peasants around to completely encapsulate their forces. All right, here they come. The cavalry, they're a little bit confused. All right, now they're engaged. We attack with these peasants to try to surround. We attack with these peasants to try to engage. Look at that. Defeat seems certain on this cavalry. Defeat is almost a certainty. That's just how strong Carthaginian peasants are. They can break and hold cavalry charges if you can pack them into a city in a dense formation. Now, the only downside is they cannot withstand arrow fire or anything like that. So if somebody's shooting at you, you gotta just charge them. You cannot let them sit there and shoot you for free. And when the enemies retreat, yeah, you just fall back. Go to your nice dense formations. Now, I know it says right here that victory is a distinct possibility, but you gotta remember, this is 155 dudes against like 500 dudes in this packed corridor here. So sure, they'll probably get like 2 to 3 kills each, but they'll get tired. Our units will kill back. Oh, we got another cavalry charge. Who is it against? My peasants are routing, but they're just going to retreat to the city square where they should fight to the death. Enemy general is charging, so we charge his rear. I have a bit of a problem with morale here. My peasants are breaking. It's not ideal. In fact, this group of peasants right here is going to have a very hard time holding. Yeah, the fleeing is not good because they're going to get slaughtered, but they're going to have a really hard time breaking through here. My casualties are immense, but it doesn't matter. I feel like I should win this, right? I've fought battles like this before. Yeah, there we go, right? The enemy general routed. I win the battle. This is what I'm talking about. If you have enough peasants, you can hold off like massive armies and they're super cheap. I mean, the casualty screen, it's pretty bad. I'm not going to lie. And I probably could have commanded that better. But I mean, I didn't have to invest a lot of money in those troops. And now I could just start combining them all together. And by focusing on such cheap troops, I've been able to build up a monster economy where I'm making nearly 7,000 denarii a turn. It says 5,000 here. I think last turn it was like 7,000. Yeah, it should be more than that. That's right. I think it's because I started recruiting more expensive units, so my army upkeep has gone up a couple grand in the last few turns. The best part of all these peasants is I just go through and I click retrain, and then next turn all of these peasants will be retrained and rebuilt, fully stacked up in a single turn. Peasants, man, I'm telling you, they're so good. You take a lot of casualties, but you can hold the line very well. Now I try not to recruit peasants in cities that I actually plan to grow, because they do take up some of your population. Alright, let's fight this siege now. I can't remember what this city is called, but there's only an enemy general and 2 hastati. I think this is actually his faction leader, because it's a double-sized cavalry, although I could be wrong, maybe I'm crazy. Let's get those rams to the walls, boys. Peasants are great too, because you can carry siege equipment with them like rams, and it doesn't matter because they're expendable fodder anyway. All right, here's the setup. I got a phalanx ready to advance through the gates, and I got peltist support that'll pepper these enemies, try to soften them up as these guys advance through. And then I've got the walls being broken down so I can do flanking and sweeping attacks once the hoplites have the hastati engaged. Oh wait, why are they running away? Don't run away. The whole point was oh yes, they're charging. Put your spears down, please. Please put your spears down. Oh, look at that. Get in there. Oh, they're retreating. They tried to break off and now they're just taking heavy casualties. I decided to break my phalanx because they were just like not being able to use their weapons and just getting absolutely slaughtered. Look at this swarm of infantry just passing down through the main aisle of the city. I've got my cavalry heading around the right side so that I can do a flanking attack. Wait, no, that's too soon. Oh, they attacked before I was ready. Oh God, my poor peasants. They're getting slaughtered. The whole point with peasants is they keep someone busy while you hit them from the back. They're not supposed to engage in frontal combat for an extended period of time. Now, the good news is we do now have the flank on them, so they will be smashed between my hammer and anvil, as long as my general's bodyguard here actually charges down this and doesn't get hit in the back by those hastati. Oh, here we go. Let the charge begin. It was a bit of an anemic charge, I gotta admit. We already killed like 10 of them on the charge. But hey, you know what? They're wrapped. They're wrapped and their cheeks are getting clapped. This is the idea. This is peak male performance right here, is when you have an enemy block of red units just surrounded by your green. He's retreating. Oh, he's dead. Amazing. Amazing. Charge our general directly into the face of these Roman legions. Actually, wait, I changed my mind. Oh, or do-over. I want a do-over. Don't do it. Let's let the infantry engage first, and then we'll hit them with these guys. Oh, here it comes. There's 50 left. There's the charge. Oh my God, that's a devastating charge. I love how the units like flow past each other. This is the thing about Rome that I love, is that units feel like they had like an incredible weight. Now we're going to crash into them from the back. It's not the most devastating charge ever, but we do have them enveloped now by both of our general's bodyguard units. I just love how weighty the units feel. Like when they crash into each other, it's like the whole front line gets pushed back and stuff. Now you can make an argument that they kind of glide around, but if you like, you know, if you zoom out a little bit and you squint, it looks fine. I'm not going to say the game is perfect, but the game is perfect. And we took a lot of casualties, I think mostly on our peasants and town militia, which are basically crap units anyway that are just like really, really cheap to maintain. So that was a successful fight, and now we completely own Syracuse. Right, we've taken Messana. I think we want to enslave the population to reduce it. That way we can more easily manage this city. But I reckon that taking control of Sicily is like basically opening move for Carthage. If you can achieve this, you're doing great. Let's take out this Roman siege army as well. We've got a reinforcing army coming in from the back. So what we want to do is basically just set up an infantry front line and then just patiently wait to completely envelop and surround this Roman army. Now they might try to bring the fight to us, which wouldn't be ideal, but we do have a general's bodyguard to fight against his Roman heavy cavalry. Oh, how cute. He's sending archers out here to try to slow down my peasants. And such a cute little move. It's not going to work. All right, here comes the moment of truth. Send our Iberian infantry to actually fight the Hastati, and then bring our massive swarm of peasants in from behind. Look at this charge, dude. Oh, they're counter-throwing. How are you breaking? You've only just touched them. Wait, why are my units breaking? Combat has only begun. Go rally those troops, please. These aren't even bad infantry. These are Iberian infantry. These are my good troops. But they broke instantly upon contact with the enemy. All right, I got the cowards under control. Let's charge the back of that cavalry. We've got my general fighting off against his general, with peasant support, I might add, although those peasants are routing. And the Hastati now are starting to get enveloped, which is the plan. All right, enemy generals retreating. Let's use our Roman cavalry, or not our Carthaginian general, to try to break this Hastati unit. I don't know why my units broke literally upon contact with the enemy. I thought this Iberian infantry would be better, but apparently they're just kind of trash. Yeah, they took 50 casualties on the charge, inflicted 7, and then immediately routed. And I mean, like, look at these units. They're not complete trash. They have 7 melee attack, a little bit of morale, some total defense, good armor, good defense. They have a shield, they have some charge. I mean, if you compare them to peasants are cheaper and arguably performed better than these Iberian infantry that I've been creating, because they just completely crumbled when up against Roman legions. It's a good thing I'm working on a cavalry stables in the capital so I can start spamming out elephants to crush everyone on the map. Retinue expanded, superior commander, very cool. This guy's now +4 general. That's so cool. Oh man, I'm getting a ton of retinue expansions and new traits. A lot of my generals are getting stronger. Oh, at long last, Palma! Palma has expanded. We can now upgrade it to a level 2 settlement with a governor's villa, which opens up, most importantly, the ability to build a port, and we'll get to start printing insane amounts of trade income from these islands. Found a sneaky little rebel over here blocking my road. I'm building watchtowers along my desert roads because that helps you spot incoming armies as well as potential rebels who can stand on your roads. And you notice how my trade carts are coming along here, and then my income is being cut by the devastation of these rebels. They basically eat into your income, so you always want to be on the lookout for rebels like this. And I'll probably get some roads going all the way over here as well so that I can keep track of that. They tend to spawn on roads, so that's something you want to look out for. And I think I could also place a fort somewhere here and maybe garrison it with like a couple of peasants, and that can reduce the chance that rebels will appear here as well. I also need to decide what my next move with regards to Rome is. Do I continue to attack Rome? Or do I perhaps instead redirect an army over to Spain to try to conquer this? And then I'm surrounding Numidia, or whoever this is, I think it's Numidia, who I could attack. But I think we have the pressure on Rome, so we might be able to knock out the Brutii if we were to invade the peninsula. I'm just worried that their armies are going to be pretty big. We have like crippled the Julii by sinking that fleet for a significant number of turns, so now might be the time to actually strike. Dealing with a siege over in Numantia as well. It looks like mostly skirmishery kind of units, and I have a decent amount of cavalry and slingers, so I think I could take this fight pretty easily. Let's go ahead and sally out and see if we can fight this fight. Yeah, it's almost mostly skirmishers, but a couple of round shield cavalries that we should be able to deal with very easily, considering we have our own round shield cavalry. I'm gonna have my peasants garrison the city square and move out with the rest of my army. I'm gonna try to fight them near the wall so that we can have support from these towers. Are they retreating? I can't tell. Let's kind of rush out and see what they do. Because if they're in full retreat, we could maybe charge out with our cavalry. Although this was always like a staple of the Rome Total War games. Is how hard your troops sometimes had a time getting out of the walls of your own city. It's just like a massive scrum of people getting knocked over by horses and stuff. Granted, I probably should have sent units through, like a few at a time, but you know what? Get into the scrum, baby. We gotta get out. Oh, maybe they're not retreating and they're just repositioning. Okay, well in that case, let's slow our roll here a little bit. All right, here we go. The skirmish phase is about to begin. The enemy skirmishers are moving in, our slingers are opening up. Now we have our peltists out front here because they tend to be pretty good at absorbing hits. They have pretty good shields here, +2. While it isn't an amazing set of shields, it can usually do the job for screening for the sort of more weak slinger units. Oh, I think they're in full retreat. Let's just cavalry charge them in the back and see if we can provoke them. Cavalry moving in. Here we go. And they're already broken. So it looks like they have just decided that they do not want to be a part of this battle anymore, which I'm totally fine with because these are just basically free kills for me now. All these horsemen and generals' bodyguards are going to be picking up a bit of experience. Now, you don't get much experience from killing routing units, but you do get a little bit. And so that's always worth it. Gives a chance for like the average experience of the unit to go up. Oh my god, the devastation. They're down to like 4. Some of these units just have to be like completely obliterated at this point. Look at that, 642 inflicted casualties. They really need to come at me with more energy. All right, we've got a 95% chance of a buyout on this guy. Let's see how it goes. Nice, we actually managed to pull it off, and now he has another +1 finance, which should mean, yep, he earns me more money. I really like the little merchant minigame. It's a great way to give players something to do with their units. I think it really is a nice addition to the game, and I have no complaints about it. It's just a fun, there's more stuff to do that's interesting to interact with. I cannot stress how good public order bonus due to law is, okay? Look at my corruption, 877. I build the Temple of Baal, which gives me an extra 10% public order bonus, and now it's gonna go down to nearly, just under 800 corruption penalty. This is a massive amount of my income that's being lost just because the city's far away from my capital. If we can pick up stuff like the execution square later for another 10%, and then the secret police HQ and the secret police network, we could end up with really low corruption in cities that are actually quite far from my capital city. I'm sending off some troops to go clean out this Spanish city. If I can take out this city and this city, then I only have to deal with the Spanish in the east. Don't forget to check out the links in the description and the pinned comment to get the game yourself. It is available now for purchase on Steam. I think though this is where I'm gonna leave this episode for now. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!